Okay, so when it comes to building and managing your cables and stuff like that, um, um, I'll show you a few tips that I use, I have used, or I presently use, that kind of thing, um, for that. So really, really quickly over here, like if you were to leave the space in the floor, you can do like that. Or if your build's really big, like really large scale, you can even leave another floor or another layer so that you have a two space area to work in, which is honestly really, really nice, because then you don't even have to tear up the floor. You can just use some carpenter's blocks hatches, make them blend into the floor. So in a place where you would remember where it's at, you can pop that hatch and go down inside of there. So for example, like over here, let's say, we'll just really, really quickly set something up here to show you. So you could, take this part, add your hatch, make it match the floor so you can't really see it, pop that open, and you're down in like a little workshop area where, or a maintenance hatch area, I guess you would say, where you can run your wires and them not be visible from your floors. And then you can also, of course, do the one block method there. So let's say, for example, you wanted to run some stuff with, I don't know, thermal expansion, I guess, conduits. I don't know where they would be. I'm not very familiar with creative mode. So let's see. Sorry if it takes me a second to find things on here. That wouldn't be under floors, would it? Well, anyway, let's use Ender IO conduits, for example. But pretend they're something else that can't be facaded. But you can just run these through here, and you can always tear up your floor and do your work and then put your floor back in or whatever. So that is an option, and that's one reason I suggest leaving that one block space between your floors. Don't make your floors right on top of each other, because it's not practical for trying to run a lot of wiring and stuff like that, especially wires. Ender IO, of course, you can have your say your item conduits and your energy conduits, of course, in the same block space, and that's fine. But other conduits aren't, don't generally work that way. So if you have, say, items and energy running around, you're going to have to wrap them around each other. And if you just have your floors right on top of each other, that's going to be a whole lot tougher to do that. So just a heads up on that. Another thing, if you want your conduits out of sight, but you need to run them through, say, an open space, one thing that you can use is liquid. I've used this in the past. I generally build big, so I'll have big rooms, and so I need to run some conduits, within these big rooms, not necessarily all the way to the wall, because that's a major waste of wiring for me, in that particular build. But I have these big areas, and so you can use, say, lava or water. Both work pretty well the same, but you can use those to create like a waterfall effect while still hiding your piping and stuff inside of that. So you could run your piping all the way down and it's not going to get burnt or anything. Of course, that's not the case for real life. Don't run wiring through water. It's probably not a good idea. So don't do that and then say, I told you it was okay. But another thing that you can do is use columns. So if your area is big enough that it might look okay with columns, put some columns in there, and then you can, of course, touch it up with carpenter's blocks, slopes, or stairs, depending on your preference, and make it look like a column, not out of cobblestone, but this is just an example. And you've got your wiring running through there, and it's out of sight, and of course, it's not just a big eyesore, wires running all over the place. And of course, in my crack pack series, I do have areas where there's wires and stuff, but that's because it's unfinished. So don't judge me on that, please. But let's go ahead and talk about actually running cabling, across your base. So if your base is just a house, that's kind of what I consider small scale. Even if it's a decently sized house, it's still what I consider small scale, because you're only building within this one area. Now, if you start getting into like a big palace or something like that, that's a little bit different. But with a general house, Wiring's not too big of an issue because chances are you can run your wiring across your house, from one room to the next, and using this one block space trick, and it's going to be fine. It's not going to cause too much of an issue. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on small scale houses because it's not really all that difficult to move wires and items through your house just using conduits or whatever your preference is. But some of the tricks that I'm going to show you are some of the not really tricks, but the blocks I'm going to show you that make moving stuff really, really easy is you can also use them in your small houses or whatever. Also, if you have a quarry set up out of ways, you'll want to use it for that as well. But the first thing I'm going to cover is medium wire transfer, primarily power. Items I generally will do the long distance just because it's so easy to do, and it's generally in like every single pack. I will generally do the long distance technique for medium transfer for items because of course items don't really have an equivalent to this as far as transfer unless you set up like maybe a Steve's carts or just a mine cart setup to move your items or something like that. You can do that, but for medium transfer, let's say we've got this capacitor bank over here and I want it to get power from, say, this capacitor bank over here. And of course it would be farther off or whatever, but this is just an example. I would use, for one, I could use Draconic Evolution. This is my personal favorite. I absolutely love Draconic Evolution's power networking because it just works so well and does so well at what it does. So basically you're going to have an advanced energy transceiver from wherever you're going to pull power from, and then you can have another one over here, and if you're say you want this one to extract power, you would right click and say mode change here and make sure and set this to input 5 times transfer. And basically that means, or you can do just input or input 5 times transfer. Basically 5 times transfer is a faster transference rate. So if you don't want it to be quite so fast, you can just use the standard transfer. So basically what's happening is it's importing from this capacitor that's attached to into this network. And then we could run over here and use our relays to link them up, though honestly I think this is probably close enough that this could connect over here. No, it's not quite. Alright, let's save that position and we'll just run it to here and then again to here, and you'll notice it lights up. That means it's transferring power, and you'll see that this capacitor bank is receiving power. And this one is set to output, and that's what you want. If you want to output energy from this network into whatever it's attached to, you're going to set it to output. Now another option that you have with these that's absolutely wonderful, especially for like machining rooms and stuff, it's one of my favorites, is this wireless transceiver. This one is amazing. So let's say we had a bunch of machines scattered about this room, like that. That's how everybody sets up their machines, just a big mess. But anyway, we'll just connect up to this wireless transceiver, and then we can just save that position and go over here and right click all of our machines that we want to bind it to, and you'll notice that now there's some particle effects, and these are all charging up. Basically this thing can transfer up to 16 connections, and there is a lower tier Draconic Evolution, so keep that in mind. This is the top tier, but if you don't have access to Awakened Draconium, because that is a little bit farther into the the tech tree and everything, there is a lower tier that just takes standard Draconium, and these have 8 connections. They're generally about half what the Awakened ones are. I think the Awakened ones can transfer up to 40 block distance or something like that, and the these ones can transfer like 20, I want to say. But any questions you have about that kind of stuff, you can check inside of the tablet here. So if we scroll down here to say the energy relays, these are 25 block range, okay, and then the advanced ones are 50 block range. So you know, that's the first suggestion I have for medium length power, because I absolutely love Draconic Evolution. Now Immersive Engineering also has its own take on that as well. They have this wire coil, and you have these wire connectors. And so basically, if we have, once again, this capacitor bank here and this one over here that has no power, we can just throw a wire connector on here, wire connector on here, and run it across. And it only takes one wire. Now in addition, there's also like wooden posts and different things that you can use. And if we, let me grab an engineer's hammer really quick. Right here. So if we say pull that out, we can have our wires, you know, running along on like a power line system over to here as well. So really nice feature. Works pretty much like the Draconic Evolution stuff does. So you know, that's my two major suggestions for medium power. I'm sure I'm missing some things, but that's the ones I generally use myself. And then next up is long range. So long range is fairly easy to do, honestly. And the way that I suggest doing it, there's a couple different options here. First up is the Ender Storage mod. And let's grab just some, I don't know where it would be, materials maybe? Yeah, okay. We'll grab some lappies. So if you want to transfer fluids long distance or even medium distance, I use it for that too. You can even do it for small distance, it doesn't matter. You can use these ender tanks. And the way these work is whatever liquid is in them, they are going to, where did my bucket of lava go? Okay. They're going to link up to, you know, matching colors. So if I put lava in this one, you'll notice that that one gets lava. But as soon as I come over here and say change this to blue, white, white, it no longer has the lava because it's no longer linked to this. So you can use any color combination of all 16 colors on all three of these. Any combination, so you have just an absolute ton of different, you know, liquid connections and stuff that you can connect. And if you're on a server, you can right click these with a diamond and only you can access them. So, you know, if this person over here has white, white, white that has lava, this person has a diamond, there's no lava in there. That's because that is bound only to them. Not even if this person over here came over and put a diamond on this, it wouldn't connect. That's because, you know, it's a different player. This is player bound and safety locked. And there's also the ender chest that's pretty much the exact same thing. So if we come over here and we throw, say, a diamond in here, it's going to be over here, and you can, you know, dye it. Diamond's over here, but it's not over here. And then once again, you can lock those by using a diamond on the lock. So just a heads up on that. And these can be used to transfer, you know, infinite distance, cross dimensions, and all that good stuff. Now also Java barrels and storage drawers have a thing with them where you can do pretty much the same thing. Let me really quickly find like Java. There's Java. So the Java barrel one is, and this one might be, you know, if you don't have Obsidian and stuff, it might be a little bit more affordable to you. But it's this B-Space upgrade. And so basically you can do the same thing with items with that. So if I put this chest here, or this barrel here and that barrel there, go ahead, if you're going to do that, go ahead and B-Space these. Whoops. I forgot I have to upgrade these, don't I? Oh, okay. Let's do that. Let's do that and that. Okay. And so if we B-space these, and these have to be identical. So if I have this one with just... I'll never figure it out. I swear. There we go. Shift. Alright. But if I had, say, this one upgraded, you know, 2 times, and I tried to do this, it would not connect they have to be identical, both in the contents of the barrel when you first set it up, as well as the upgrades that are applied, and everything across the board has to be identical. But if we go ahead and make these identical, and we give them both B-space upgrades, now I can say throw one of these diamonds in here, and then I can use this B-space tuning fork to link these up. So all I have to do is just shift right click that, and it'll say the fork starts resonating, and you'll see the durability of the fork starts dropping. Basically, you have to get to the barrel that you want to link to before the durability wears off. So if I come over here and hit that, you'll notice that now there's a diamond in each of them. If I pull the diamond out of here, it pulls it out of there, and so on. So that's, I don't know, it's bugged out right now. I don't know if it has to do with creative, but basically those are going to link up and share their inventory. And then the last thing that I want to cover is your long distance everything transfers. So, and you can use these medium distance, you can use them however, but there's multiple different kinds. So if you don't specifically want to use a tesseract, you don't have to. There's the three major ones that I use. There may be more, but the three major ones that I use is the tesseract from thermal expansion, the quantum entangloporter from mechanism, and then the dimensional transceiver from Ender.io. Those are the three that I'm the most familiar with. So if we come in here and open up this tesseract, we can set a frequency, and we can say this is frequency 100 and set that frequency, and then come down here and we can type sending them things. That's what we're doing, and we're going to add that frequency. So sending them things is there, and this was actually from the first video when I was recording. And we'll go ahead and select this one and set the frequency, and now we can actually go into these, and let's say we want this one to receive items, fluids, and energy, and we want this one to send the items and fluids and energy. And you can organize these however you want. You can have this tesseract receiving energy but sending fluid to this one, and so on. You can do whatever you want to. But let's now go ahead and set up, say, a chest here and a chest over here. And I don't have my item conduits anymore, do I? Alright, let me grab warp item ducts, that's fine. And we'll just plug this up. And actually, let me just grab item conduits. Sorry. They're just a little bit easier to, I don't have to put the things on there. Okay, so let's say we have item conduits here, and we set this one to insert, and this one's going to extract. Oops. That's not wanting to, there we go. It wasn't wanting to do, but if I say put an item in here, that diamond ends up over here. And the same can be done with energy and everything. And the same is true for all of these. So tesseracts can send energy, items, and fluid. The quantum entangloporter is a little bit different. You can set your frequency, and we're going to say this is frequency 2, and it'll show to Asgaard frequency 2. And then we come over to this one and connect it up to frequency 2. And now what we have to do is we have to go into the transporter config, and the side config, and these tangloporters can send items, fluids, gases, energy, and heat. So they have a little bit more added to them, but of course gases and heat are both mechanism mechanics. So just keep that in mind. But I don't think it actually works with other mods. Like, say, I don't think I can send heat through this for Pneumaticraft, for example. I don't think I can do that. But now that we have that set up, what we can do is we can set up the side configs and say this one we want you to input from the top and output out the front, and you'll want to set auto eject on. And then over here it's going to be the same thing, and we'll set auto eject on. What we can do is we can set, say, a chest here, and a chest, like say right here. Connect these two up, and I believe this one should be extracting, right? And this one's going to insert, and then now if we put a diamond into this, you'll notice the diamond gets pulled out, and that was the issue. The Ender IO conduits didn't, I had to set that to auto extract as well, but the diamonds ended up over here. So and then the dimensional transceiver is pretty much the same thing. If we set it to a frequency, and you'll notice all these different tabs down the side. We have items, or a filter, I'm sorry. And then we have energy, items, we have fluids. The tracks I'm actually not sure about. I'm guessing rail carts transfer. I'm pretty sure that's rail cart transfer. I don't use it all that much. But you can filter things and everything. But if we say we want to send items here, we'll select the item tab, we'll set a frequency, let's say 2, save it, come over here and say 2, and we want to send on 2, and over here we want to receive on 2. So then what we would do is we would just set up our chest and our item conduits. This one is sending, this one is receiving. So now if we throw, say, our diamond in here, it gets pulled out. Oh, I'll tell you what it is. It's because I don't have... These actually require energy. I forgot about that. So these ones, you actually have to plug up energy to. And now actually you don't have to plug up energy to the second one. You can just set it to, say it's going to receive energy on 1. And we can set this one to send energy on 1. And it'll actually provide power to that other one. But if we open this up now, you'll see that we have a diamond in here. So that's pretty much how those work. So if you want some like long distance transfer, that is an option. But anyway, I think I'm going to end the tutorial out there. I hope this answered your question, Naraya. You know, as far as the cable transfer and things like that, it's really the best advice I know to give on that. But if you do have any specific questions, feel free to let me know, and I will, you know, do my best to answer those for you. And yeah, so I hope this helped you guys, and as always, if any of you have any questions, feel free to ask and I will do my best to answer them. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not already for more daily videos, and feel free to comment and let me know what you think or any questions you have. And yeah, until next time, do take care, and I hope to see you guys then.